Hi everybody, and welcome to a Heel Heat review. This week we're going to be reviewing the TNA Genesis pay-per-view. My name is George Coles. This is my tag team partner, Elix Skipper.
Prime time fool, Gary Rhodes, everybody. And what makes this pay-per-view one of the more, how would you say, special ones is TNA has said they're going to cut down to 4 pay-per-views a year.
And then the other shows are going to be specials at a cheaper rate.
But the thing is, with the other ones, there's only going to be one held in the Impact Zone so far, is what I've heard. That'd probably be just this one so far. You know, fingers crossed. I think it's going to better the product.
Yeah. And to start off with the show, we had the tag team title match: Joey Ryan and Matt Morgan versus Chavo Guerrero and Sean Hernandez.
What can you say good about this match?
I mean, this is about the 4th or 5th time they've given us this match between Impact and pay-per-views.
I'm going to ask you a serious question, George. Did them taking the titles off of Daniels and Kaz, because it irritates me, I'm sorry, it does. Did them taking the titles off of Daniels and Kaz make sense for Chavo and Hernandez?
It really didn't, because they have the makings of being a really good tag team division. If you want to make your product different to WWE, highlight the tag teams, highlight the X division. That's 2 things that the WWE does not have, and you're basically giving it to a tag team that by the end of 2013 is not going to be a tag team anymore.
It probably won't even be with the company no more.
I mean, we're talking about a company, and not to go too far off the subject, a company that's had great tag teams like Team 3D, like the Machine Guns, like America's Most Wanted, all the way back to the beginning.
Beer Money, I mean,
Beer Money.
The list goes on and on with the tag teams this company's had.
Triple X.
Exactly, and you could make money off. These teams could print their own money if they're marketed right.
Yes, and this again was a really subpar match, not a good opener for the show at all, in my opinion. It could have, like we say a lot of times on these TNA pay-per-views, this could have easily been a TNA Impact match.
Exactly. And it had the feel of one. Let's get out of this match because it really feels dirty being in it. How about Samoa Joe versus Mr. Anderson? What were your thoughts of the match?
I actually really liked this match. I thought it was a good match. Probably Mr. Anderson's best match in a long time. Actually, I can't remember him having one better than this in the recent memory.
Him and Angle had some good ones. I would say this is the best match with him and Samoa Joe. Because they put on some, you figured there would be great matches, and they weren't all that great. This match here, they got rid of all the, whatever the hell it was they had a problem with, and really gelled good together, and I thought it was an excellent match.
I really enjoyed it. It was, after the first match, this built my hopes up again for the pay-per-view, and I really liked it. And I did like Joe going over as well.
Anderson over.
I know, I'm just messing with you.
No. Like, wait a second, because usually Joe does go over. You talk about a high point in this match. Now, the match I was really anticipating was the next match.
There you go, Christian York versus Kenny King for the #1 contender for the X Division title. Excellent match. Again, highlighting the X Division, something that's different than what WWE's given us. 2 guys that can really go. Christian York, we've been a little bit critical. He's been lethargic, and he's put on some bad matches. But this was his best outing, in my opinion, since he's been in TNA.
I have to agree with you. And I'm really high on Kenny King. I really wish King would have went over because I really want to see him and RVD, but I think they're building that for a pay-per-view quality match.
Well, it's a pay-per-view.
Well, I'm talking about being billed for it. He was in a gauntlet or whatever you want to call it, and the winner goes against RVD.
The thing of it is, Christian York, they're both really good. I think Kenny King has way more upside potential than Christian York does, and that's where I think they missed it on it. And you missed a traditional heel-face match to go for a face-face match coming up.
An injured face match at that, too,
yes.
Which I'm not a big fan of that. Unless they're planning on turning the face that's injured heel or the other face heel, it really has nothing to do with anything. It would have been better to see Kenny King versus RVD. But like I'm thinking that maybe that'll be the next pay-per-view they have some build-up for it.
Well, Christian York goes over, beats Kenny King, and Kenny King attacks him after the match and hits his move, the Coronation, which leaves him laid out. And basically, Kenny King, as he's walking back and Rob Van Dam's walking in, because the stipulation was the winner immediately faced Rob Van Dam. Kenny King basically points and goes, "There you go, I left him there for you." Rob Van Dam comes in the ring, tries to do the right thing and say, "We can hold off till later, we don't have to do this now." Christian York shakes him off, basically punches him in the face, which leads us right into the match with Christian York and Rob Van Dam. Again, back-to-back solid matches by Christian York. I really liked his he really stepped his game up, especially on now what is going to be one of the flagships of the TNA year.
Well, the thing I liked about York in this one here is I always like ring psychology, and I love that. I love that kind of shit. And York really played the crowd being injured. So I'm not a big fan of that unless they're going to plan on turning somebody heel, but I enjoyed it in this match.
It was a very enjoyable match, very good stuff. Rob Van Dam, who his whole career has had a tendency to be spotty at times. This one he worked more of his psychology into it, which usually there's two Van Dams. There's one that's lazy and just wants to hit all his spots, and then there's the other Van Dam that wants to push and show that he's still one of the top wrestlers in the world. And this was a match that he wanted to show he was one of the top wrestlers in the world, I think. Van Dam goes over, doesn't make either guy look weak because, of course, York comes in injured. Rob Van Dam keeps his title. He doesn't lose to an injured guy. Both guys come out looking strong after the match, which is what you want to do.
Which brings us into the next match. Joseph Parks from Park
Yeah.
versus Devon, oh my brother, testify, Dudley. I said it, Dudley. I enjoyed this match. I honestly think that I'm very into the Joseph Parks character. How about you?
I really enjoy it. There's a couple things I enjoy. Abyss is someone that I enjoy that I didn't want to in the beginning because I thought he was derivative of the Kane and the Mankind character, but he grew on me, and now Chris Parks, his real name, he's taken a break from the hardcore Abyss style, which really grinds you down. He's wrestling more of a comedy style with Joseph Park, which throwing some elements of the Abyss character into it. I think in the end it's going to come out he's a split personality because they can't have both at the same time.
I'm going to say something. You might disagree with me a lot. I don't know, but I'm going to put it out there with Abyss, Joseph Parks, Chris Parks, whatever you want to call him. I think of his generation, because he's not with Kane's generation or Taker's generation. I think he is the most talented big man in the business of his generation today. Kane is 90s Attitude Era, stuff like that. He's getting towards the end. And
Joseph Park's been there for 10 years.
No, he's not been there for 20 years. He's not going towards the end of his career right now. Kane is close to retire. Or Glenn Jacobs, whatever you want to call him. I think if anybody could take what Kane has done, I think Chris Parks, Joseph Parks, Abyss, whatever you want to call him, this guy has the capability of taking over that part. We just said psychology. He's an impressive monster. He's an impressive baby face. He's just plain out impressive. At first I wanted to shit on this gimmick, and I hate saying I like it, but I do. Yeah, it's one of them guilty things,
I really liked the match. I really liked it. The only problem I had with it is when he snapped, when he was bleeding, he hit the black hole slam, and then he went for the choke slam, but halfway through went back into Joseph Park and let Devon go, which Devon wins. I think it would have been better if he did hit the choke slam and pin Devon, in my opinion.
I think, because I've been in this character for so long. Other than that, a well-worked match. I think one of Devon's best matches since being single.
Testify, my brother.
Let's get to the next match.
It's going from my brother to my sisters. We had a Divas knockout, or I'm sorry, a Knockouts gauntlet, which basically I thought was a showcase for Gail Kim. She she took out ODB, she took out, did she take out Tess?
Took out Tess first, ODB.
It was Tess, ODB.
And then the one that surprised me was
Mickey James. And then finally, Velvet Sky comes out, and it's Velvet Sky versus
Gail Kim.
Versus Gail Kim, who's been already wrestled three different people. Velvet gets the win over her, which you thought was the best idea, that Velvet should have went over. I liked it because not only did you build a face in building Velvet, for the winner got a chance at the Knockouts title, which is Tara's title right now. You build a good face with Velvet, but you also build a good heel with Gail Kim, who has every reason to complain about being screwed and put into a gimmicky situation. She beat 3 people. Velvet only beat 1 that already was in 3 matches. It builds, for the show, it builds something of interest with Gail Kim and also Velvet Sky.
I agree with you. Honestly, I think this is one of the the better knockouts events they've had. Usually, sometimes when they have other things other than matches, they're kind of cheesy. I like the gauntlet. I didn't think I was going to like it, but I did.
TNA, since their introduction, they've really seemed to be high on using the gauntlet match. I think that's how they determined their first X Division and World Champions was by gauntlet matches, if I remember correctly. But
I thought it was a tournament. I think it was a tournament.
No, it was a gauntlet.
I can't remember.
But anyway, or it was a battle royal, and the last 2 had to wrestle. Anyway, it's something different. It's something that sets their product apart, and I like that about that.
Well, you talk about the beginning of TNA. Let's talk about 2 guys that have been there since the beginning. Christopher Daniels and James Storm. They had an excellent match.
When I was coming into this match, there's 2 matches I was really looking forward to, because the Joe and Mr. Anderson wasn't announced.
Yeah.
I would have looked forward to that as well. This one and the main event were the 2 matches I were really looking forward coming into it. This one did not disappoint. These are 2 guys that should be in the main event, and the winner of this match got a future title match. I think, what was it, the 24th? On the Impact on January 24th, which is a week from Thursday. I really liked it. Like you said, I liked it. The surprise factor of Daniels winning gave it. It's one of those things where I fully expected James Storm to win, but with Daniels winning, it gave me an extra. It added an extra something to the match, in my opinion.
I've always high on Daniels and Kaz since they've been together. I've really liked the pairing of the 2, and I like the fact that Kaz had his manager's license for the evening. And I really like the way everything worked out. He played the perfect heel manager. If that's what they're going to limit Kaz to, if they're going to put Daniels in a single run, I'm for it. I think it works out fine.
Yeah. And it was a really good match. I'd say it was the second best match of the night. We're going to talk about the best one in a little bit, but I really enjoyed the match. Now, coming off of that, we went into Gimmick Central.
Oh, yeah.
Bully Ray and Brooke Hogan came out basically to kill some time on the pay-per-view, invite everybody to their wedding on Thursday night's Impact. I'm a huge Bully Ray fan. It's well documented on our shows that Bully Ray is one of my favorite wrestlers. I really don't see where they're going with this. I don't see what the payoff is. It's going to be, if Brooke and Bully turn on Hawk and join Aces and Eights, that's crap payoff. Bully turns on Brooke, joins Aces and Eights, crap again. Brooke turns on Bully, joins Aces and Eights, crap again. Any way they screw Hulk Hogan can't wrestle, so there's no payoff there.
I think honestly, I just think it's for Brooke to have a spot on the show. You got one of the most over guys in the company. Put her with him right now. I think that's the whole deal is, to get another Hogan on television. That's what we need. Other than, I really didn't even want to mention this except for the part that Bully was in it.
Yeah.
I'm not a Brooke Hogan fan. I'm sorry. You can call me whatever you want to call me. But she don't have no reason to be there. Just because her dad was a wrestler. Wow. I really don't care. But it was a segment. It's over. Let's go to the next match.
The next match was Doc versus Sting. And I hate to say it, I know we got some viewers that are real big Sting fans, And I'm not a hater of Sting. I know you don't hate Sting.
I don't hate Sting. I'm just not a giant fan.
But we do have some. But Sting, it is well past time to put up the boots, man. You cannot go anymore. You cannot. You're even at these. He's working almost an Undertaker schedule, and he's not putting on anywhere near the matches that Undertaker's putting on.
Well, the thing is that pissed you off is, okay, they have 4 pay-per-views a year now. He could lose at one of them. Why don't you lose the Doc? This guy here has the capability of being one of the biggest badasses in the company. And all you gotta do, and everybody's probably like, oh, it was just fucking Luke Gallows, he was CM Punk's sidekick, he was Festus. You gotta give a guy a chance to fucking turn into a character.
Kane. How many different characters did Kane run through before Kane stuck?
Exactly.
Kevin Nash. Kevin Nash was Oz. He was a master blaster.
Made my first million with this character.
Kevin Nash. I mean, he was given like 3 or 4 garbage characters before Diesel worked.
It took a long time for Diesel to work.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people think, oh, he just became Diesel when he became a champion. He was Diesel for 3 years before he got pushed. But the thing, let's get back to Doc. I mean, it's a shitty name they give him. I mean, they could just give him a different name, but let him get over on Sting. Let him cheat. He's a bad guy. It happens. They win sometimes that way.
This would have been the perfect time for Mike Knox to come out, and Knox and Doc hit Sting or with a hammer or whatever, so Doc could win.
Exactly. But typical TNA writing, the babyface has to win.
There you go. Speaking of which, let's go right into the main event, which I actually thought was the best match of the night.
This is one of the best matches I've seen in a while.
Bobby Roode versus Austin Aries versus Jeff Hardy. Now, I really enjoyed the psychology. I liked how Roode and Aries worked together for the heavy majority of the match for a common cause, eliminating Hardy. And then when they started bickering between each other is when Hardy got his offense in and Hardy gets the win.
That's basically it. I don't like the fact that Hardy pulled the Super Cena out and kicked out of the Brain Buster and kicked out of what pay dirt or whatever it is it's called that Roode uses. But he hits one swanton on Aries and Aries gets pinned. The same guy that was one of the longest running X Division champions beat the guy that held the TNA championship longer than anybody else to be a TNA champion, but you beat him with one swanton. That's where I kind of just say, you know what? I'm not a fan of overuse of signature moves, but if he would have kicked out of that one and Hardy would have got up and did another one right afterwards, I would have had more respect in that match, or more respect in that finish. But it's a Hardy, he's going to win.
Here's where I don't like, and you kind of hit on it. Hardy went Super Hardy, Super Cena, whatever you want to call it, and went indestructible for a little while. I can't stand when they do that. It works at WrestleMania. And, if they want to build Genesis to be their WrestleMania, well and good. But don't let it just be Hardy. Let the other 2 guys be supered up too. Let Bobby Roode kick out of some finishers. Let Aries kick out of some finishers. I mean, don't let it just be Hardy looking like he's the indestructible force, where you got you're basically making 2 main eventers look like they're combined they're less than Hardy.
Exactly, and the thing is, they're not. I think 10 times of Aries and Roode over Hardy. And I'm not saying I'm not a giant Hardy fan. I don't totally hate the guy's guts, but I hate someone that squanders things. And these 2 guys have worked their asses off and never fucked up, never did nothing wrong, and stayed with the companies. They built with Ring of Honor with Aries. They these guys believe in their tradition. They believe in everything they do. But you give it to a guy that's a total fuck up. I'm sorry. Oh, he's been clean for a year. I don't give a shit if he's clean for a year. He's been clean for 10 years.
Well, I mean, the thing of it is, I'm all for he's changed his life. Great for him. The thing of it is that, like you said, you got 2 guys that have given way more to TNA than Jeff Hardy's ever done. If Vince McMahon offered more money than TNA did, Jeff Hardy would leave. And that's the thing. That's the thing. No, I'm not saying that Roode or Aries wouldn't either, but Jeff Hardy's just there to collect a paycheck.
If you look at his matches, they're lazy. We're talking about RVD putting on, some lazy matches. So does Jeff.
Yeah.
Unless he's working with somebody that makes him look better.
Which these 2 did.
These 2 did, and even the last couple pay-per-views, they fought each other. I'm just not a fan of Hardy. I don't find him a viable champion. And other than the whole drug aspect, everything like that, like we were sitting there talking about during the pay-per-view. Ever since WWF at that point, or WWE at that point, had Brock Lesnar destroy him and his brother, I don't see any kind of credibility in either of them. I'm sorry. You put that in my head, and it's stuck there.
There you go. But basically, what would you say out of 5? What would you give the whole pay-per-view?
3.
I'm gonna go lower than you. Usually I'm higher.
Really? I was figuring you were gonna go higher. I thought you were gonna be 4, but
I'm gonna go 2.
Wow.
The reason I'm going 2, I didn't like Hardy going over. Liked the match. The match was a great match. I didn't like the end. I didn't like the Doc versus Sting match. I wasn't a fan of the beginning, the tag team match. There were some other good matches in there, but the reason I'm going so low is this could have easily been an episode of TNA Impact. It did not feel like a pay-per-view at any point during the pay-per-view.
I'll go with you on that. The things I liked the most about it was Daniels getting over on Storm, which I figured at that point Hardy was going to get over in this match.
Yeah.
Which my saving grace in this is, Hardy winning the title might cause Daniel, or Hardy keep the title, might be Daniels might beat him for it.
Exactly.
You never know. I did like the Knockouts Gauntlet. I did like Joseph Parks versus Devon, and I did like the promo that Kenny King cut too. You take a lot of that, and usually I'd try to be harder on it, but there's only 4 of them, and we're going to see where we go from there.
That's what I mean. It should have been more special. So to me, it gets a 2 because they didn't put out the best.
Oh, you went down to 2.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Oh, I had 3. That's right.
Yeah. Anyway, that's basically all I have to say about this. Is there anything you need to add?
That's it, my friend.
I'm George Coles.
I'm Gary Rhodes.
And this has been Heel Heat.